Hi, Maria Mandarino here today, and today we're going to talk about the asteroid Vesta. I've been watching this transit for a while. I've been really intrigued by it and the story of Vesta as it's playing out against world events right now. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. And before we begin, I would like to remind you if you have not already subscribed to the channel, please do so. Doesn't cost anything to do it, and it really matters for me and the growth of the channel so that my work can go somewhere other than exist in a vacuum. So, if you have not already, as I said, if you've not already subscribed, please click that subscribe button. It does help the algorithm tremendously. Also, please like the episode, comment and share it. All those things also really matter for the algorithm. And again, what I do here wouldn't matter at all if it weren't for the participation of the viewers here. So, and if you are already doing those things, I sincerely thank you. Again, it really does matter. I also want to remind you to check out my website. There's some things there that you may be interested in. Therootedmystic.com. I have an Enneagram course, a self-driven Enneagram course that includes a little more than just the Enneagram. There's a section on the Bach flower remedies and how that relates to the Enneagram types. So there's like a way to kind of self-treat what's going on with you through the Enneagram and the Bach remedies. There's a little bit of five element theory in there. It's more of my approach to the Enneagram is very integrative because I do have another background as an acupuncturist and in the holistic healing arts, as a spiritual director as well. And over time there will probably be some things added to that course as well. But right now that's what's in there. And I also have a free webinar on the website that is designed to help you develop healthier boundaries through your Enneagram type, to nourish your relationships, improve and heal your relationships, starting with the relationship you have to yourself, because that's what everything else derives from. So that's free and that's on the website. You can sign up there. Again, The Rooted Mystic. You can also sign up if you want to work with me one-on-one and you're really not sure where you want to begin. I have an inquiry call. It's $25 fee for that, and then it gets applied to whatever session you do choose to book with me. So that gets applied. And that's a half-hour call. So you can schedule that through the website, or you can schedule an astrology reading or a full spiritual direction seminar, not seminar, session with me. So those are all available there through therootedmystic.com. So today we're going to talk about Vesta, and I'm actually going to put this on pause a moment because I want to bring up the chart. Okay. So first, before I bring up the chart, I want to talk about the story of Vesta, just kind of give you a little synopsis of that. So Vesta is the Roman goddess that guards the hearth, the home and the hearth. That's her responsibility. She represents the archetypal virgin. If you've heard the expression the Vestal Virgins, that's where that comes from Vesta. So she guards the home and the hearth. And she is one of the daughters of Saturn. And if you haven't already looked at the video that I recorded a day prior to this, depending on when you're watching this is going to air on Tuesday the 17th. So, and I'm looking at the transits between there and the 18th, most likely. Um, so anyway, daughter of Saturn. We know what's going on right now with Saturn and Neptune just shifting into Aries. So she is the daughter of Saturn. Um, and she did not, in the myth, she did not want to marry. And she takes a sacred vow to guard the fires, the hearth. Um, and she is granted permission to remain an eternal virgin. So there's said to be a 30-year period that this applies to, where during that period she is not permitted to leave her vow. She has permission to retain to retain them for eternity. But for that 30-year period, she's to guard these sacred fires where sacred rituals happen, where the prayerful rituals happen, where the holy rituals happen. She's guarding that flame. That is her job. And if she or those associated with Vesta separate from that job or break their vows, there are significant consequences to come of that. So this is a very, very sacred vow that is involved with Vesta. A deep, deep commitment to spirituality and to defending those flames that burn for everyone, the holy flame that burns for everyone. That is what she is there to tend. So, so she tends the fires and is also strongly associated with innocence because of the vow that she takes. Um, so let's hop over to the chart. Okay, so here we have Vesta currently in Aquarius at 19 degrees. This is for February 18th. So if you're watching this today on Tuesday, this is tomorrow's chart that I brought up. So she is in Aquarius, the sign of the people. Um, and she is right there 1 degree apart from Mars, which is part of what I've been watching. We're going to talk a little more about that. And then we have her co-present with Pluto, who's going to be there for about the next 16 years, all in the sign of Aquarius. So the sign of society, the sign of humanity, the sign of the collective, the sign that we use the words we, us, and ours. Um, it's not the sign of the individual, it's the sign of the people. So currently, we have the story of the survivors, and this story has really exploded to the international level. Um, and that's when I really started to plug into this being Aquarian, um, because this concerns the collective, right? And that's what these fires, the Vestal fires, are about. They burn for the collective. They burn for all of us. And these women dedicate themselves to this vow to burn the sacred flame, this prayerful, holy, sacred flame for the benefit of society in Aquarius. So, um, and then, we have Mars there real close, um, giving this some heat. And I wonder if it's adding to the heat of that fire, the Vestal fire, um, empowering it. Mars is the god of war, so there can be some of that in there, aggression, anger, rage. Um, but it can also be momentum. It could also be, the carrying of this flame, the intensifying of this flame. It can be those things as well. Um, and everything that goes with that, right? So the sacredness of it, the holiness of that flame, um, the profound depth that we're talking about, and that also gets to Pluto. So Pluto in its lower expression um, can bring fear right to our front porch. Um, and knowing what we know about this story that's playing out right now, there was certainly a lot of fear and darkness that was involved. And, so we have that Plutonian influence, but Pluto also uh, represents transformation. Um, and it's the transformation that comes out of the darkness, out of the hell realms, out of the challenges of darkness, out of the fear. It's the power. Pluto empowers us. Um, so it's interesting that all of this is right there in Aquarius, right now. So and then we also have the overshadowing experience of the lunar eclipse that just happened in this house. If you're watching it on Tuesday, it's happening today. But again, I'm looking at tomorrow's chart. So the lunar eclipse has just happened there. So we've got this major reset in Aquarius that's just happened, and the sign again of society, humanity, the people. Um, and now we have Vesta and Mars um, left behind in this sign to work out some remaining details after that reset. Um, the story is certainly picking up in the headlines. Um, and I think that we should probably keep an eye on this one for a little bit. Um, the sign of Aquarius is also associated with freedom and social justice. So the liberation of this moment for these women, for the survivors, the liberation of, well, a couple of things. Liberation of fire, um, the purging of fire as well. In Chinese medicine, we talk about fire destruction, burning clean. It burns everything down, it reduces and purifies everything. And that's one of the things that the Vestal fire does is purifies things into, through the sacred rituals. So, um, So again, those themes, the people, society, freedom, social justice, these are the topics that are going with Vesta right now, and that momentum, and perhaps rage and anger of Mars, being in the picture as well. And then again, we have that transformational power of Pluto, um, the hidden, the fearful, but we also have the buried treasure through what's hidden, in under the ground is where we find the minerals, it's where we find the riches, it's where we find the gems and the gold. So Pluto contains that, but you have to be willing to go into some dark places. He's the god of hell. So again, these are themes that are very present in the astrology right now, and they are present in world events right now. So it's going to be interesting to watch this story unfold, I think, within the next few weeks, especially. I want to, lastly, it's going to be a short little episode today. I want to lastly mention the square we have to Uranus. It's not an exact square, but Uranus is up there in Taurus, currently at 27 degrees. And Uranus brings some added qualities that are going to turn up the intensity on these themes. So we have surprise, we have instability, we have sudden changes, we have potential for shocking things, and just unexpected change. And because it's in Taurus, which is an earth sign, it may have the quality of feeling like the ground is shaking. This may be really unsettling. And again, we have that square, and it's a superior square from Vesta to Uranus, and that means Vesta's in charge. Um, that means the virgin that guards the hearth, the fires of the hearth that are there to burn for the betterment of society and the healing of society. She is in charge. So I find all this pretty intriguing. Dare I say, inspiring. So I leave that with you. This is a pretty intense week. Be gentle with yourself, be easy with yourself, leave some space for quiet, for contemplation, for processing, and before you even attempt to process, just to be. I think I said this in the last episode. This is a pretty remarkable time to be on the planet. So just try to be present to what is, what is in the greater world around you. But all this is playing out somewhere in your personal chart. So be willing to give yourself some time to sit with that as well. Again, if you want to work with me directly, I would be happy to look at this with you in your chart, and take a look at how some of these topics are taking shape for you. I might also mention that if you are a survivor of abuse yourself, some things are likely coming up for you right now. So take extra time with that. Do whatever you have to do to take care of yourself right now, and that may likely mean taking some time away from all of this. Just getting away from some social media for a bit, getting away from the news, spending time with loved ones, spending time in nature, maybe with pets, whatever helps you heal and reset your nervous system. So again, I'm here for you if you do want to work with me directly, the Rooted Mystic. Schedule that inquiry call. We can talk about ways I can work with you. And in the meantime, I wish you ease this week, and healing. Okay, thanks so much for being here. Remember, please subscribe, like, comment, and share. It really does help tremendously. So again, thanks for being here. See you next time. Bye.